It's time to talk about it. POIs, order blocks, supply, demand, call it however you want. The important thing is that even though we are liquidity traders, we use those to enter trades. Okay? Very, very, very important. Now, let's talk firstly about the technical aspect. And as you guys saw, I stopped doing the whole PowerPoint feature that we have technical descriptions. I think that was boring. I prefer let's to go directly in the thick of it. Okay, so basically, there's multiple aspect to the POI mitigation. Everybody knows what the word mitigation means. So if we go on Google, description of mitigation. Okay. Let's go and wait. All right. So here we go. What does mitigation means? It means that something that is trying to reduce risk. Okay. And POI, as some people don't know, this is called a point of interest. We use the term POI, but to be honest, if you look at it as the retail term, it's called an order block. Why? Because they say, and this is not totally wrong, they say that the institution stacked orders to then they revisit these zones to mitigate and continue in the direction desired. Let's look at it into the returning to stack more orders aspect, and then we'll go into protecting, mitigating the entries. We'll talk about both. So as you can see, this thing here, this is a POI. Okay. Usually people would confuse the POI versus the order block. If you look at it as an order block, you would more so mark this zone up. Okay. But I prefer to use POI, so point of interest. So you take the total amount of buy to sell candle. And even you can take the whole zone here. So this is just meaning that you're potentially just looking at the higher time frame POI, right? This one here, but you always want to take the buy to sell candle, okay? Or the sell to buy. Little trick. This is the buy to sell. So you take all this. This is how I do it. Same thing for this one. This is the sell to buy. You take everything, you include the wick, you include the body, and if this body closes above, you also take it, right? In this case, it doesn't. Let's see here, another good example. As you can see here, here, we take it, use your control key, you press it, and you can see it revisits this zone, okay? Every single potential structure has a POI, right? They almost all have also order blocks, but like I said, POIs are often confused with order blocks, but check a POI as a potential point of interest to look at, to be interested in, okay? So, technical description. This is an order block slash I decided to do the whole POI. You have a push that goes lower. Institution, let's say they want to enter with, let's say they want to enter with this amount of money. Maybe they don't have enough volume, so they would enter with, let's say, okay, half of it. But imagine they still want to open this. So what they will do is they will pump this volume in from this point to this point. They will put, and they will enter here. If you go in lower time frame, as you can see, the push is pretty decent. I think you guys don't understand the amount of money it takes to do this push here. And remember, keep in mind, they want to take the liquidity from here, right? The buy side liquidity. So what they will do, okay, they will push the volume lower, taking these stop losses, maybe these ones with the break and retest here, as you can see, break and retest here. They will take this. So we cannot confirm what and how much liquidity they need to come back and refulfill their second order, right? To now have all the money they wanted to then push the price lower. You need to understand that you guys trading 10 lots or 1 lot, the volume is there, but these guys have so much big accounts and so much volume, they unfortunately cannot enter where they want it. So basically, this is a point of interest that we would call it as an unfulfilled order, because they will push their price here. They don't have enough volume, so they will come back. And this is where the mitigation comes in place. Imagine the guys entered here, 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 here. Okay? These are all their sell positions. This is why what's hard about POIs is that we don't know until where is their last position. And oftentimes it's the actual order block itself. Okay, let me just remove those black lines. So you understand everybody, they're all entering, big boys entering short. They usually, and this is why I like the zones as POIs and not to take the order block, because they cannot go back to this push here because they would enter and draw down. The mitigation terminology says it pretty clearly. It refers when price returns to previously established areas of imbalances in an order block, allowing institution to close or / adapts leftover positions without causing a major disruption in price. Okay, this is like what Google says. They guaranteed, let's say they wanted to, let me just find a little thing here. Where is that? I don't remember. Price layer. Let's say they entered short here with $1 billion. Okay, 100 billion, gazillion dollars, whatever. This is the protected price. They cannot go above it, otherwise they go into drawdown. This is why they will, with this liquidity, feed and release those orders. Boom, 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 boom. As you can see, look how perfectly this stop loss has been triggered, and they will release the liquidity or push the liquidity to go higher. Okay. Now, I need you guys to hyper focus, because this is going to be very, very important. And I really don't want to repeat myself for technical things like this, because this really bores the F out of me. If they push the price lower and they release the liquidity, they need to move the price higher. So if we go in lower time frame, they will potentially take also these orders. Let's say this one is whatever, like come back, always take the zone, the POI, not the order block. If it would be the order block, you would take this, right? And look, it would be a loss. Always take the zone, okay? They come back, they do the same thing, but to fill this purpose. And as you can see, they push the price here. So now they're in buys here, right? So let's say, let's do this so it's going to be easier for you guys. Okay, put this. These are the institutions. They're in short here. Let's say this is their risk tolerance, whatever. Okay, they want to go lower to this point here, right? So what they will do, they will edge their position, pushing, 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 come back and mitigate this, reduce the risk, add another volume. Let's say they added this and like smaller position, let's say. Like smaller. It's going to be easier for you guys. Okay. Smaller position to edge with this liquidity. And when they will come back, they will either, they will either close or slash keep edge. Okay. Now they will re-enter with their position here with the remaining thing they needed here, the remaining juice, right? Now they are targeting the same thing, and this is where things gets very, very tricky, and a lot of people don't know this. This also becomes, look how it becomes also a POI, right? As you can see, this is also a POI, and this is their protected low. So they either close this position or keep it as an edge, and they either close or slash. That's it. They would close it because they initiated this push, and if they enter shorts, they will go in this position and draw down, and that's not what they want. And this is also where SMT reaction would come in place, because a lot of people think that let me just be clear, like some of the SMT, let's say that we enter like this, right, and that provides a release of liquidity and then induces these shorts are often also the release of their position. As you can see, they would close before their protected low and they release the liquidity. And as you can see, look at the reaction, releasing their liquidity, going higher and fulfilling the low. I will give another example, but I don't want to talk about that because this is boring as hell. This is technical things. It has nothing to do with being profitable or no. It's just that we had members curious and they wanted to know. Let's do a little graph because some of you like the graphs. We have a push right here. This becomes a POI because there's a push. We either revisit to mitigate their low because they want to go higher, and at the same time they would take the entice people short, or they just didn't have enough price, so they went higher, maybe taking stop losses around the line here, right? Stop losses like this, releasing the liquidity and coming back, protecting their low to leave. Okay, so what is the difference between an order block and a POI? An order block is the block, the buy to sell candle. A POI is a point of interest. So it would be a zone. As you can see here, it's not the order block that we took the zone. Very more often, this is what you want to take, right? This one here, as you can see, this is the order block. This will be the POI. And this is how I see it. Again, I repeat it. This is the way I see it. This is the way that works for me. This is how I trade. You can do your own due diligence, and this has worked perfectly for me. Now, Let's give you a final example. If they do this, right, let's say they have a short here, but now let's say they want to go higher, right? They mitigate their orders, right? And now, obviously, to go higher, they need to close their positions. And sometimes they don't close or they don't take profit. So price will come back and remitigate this zone, releasing their liquidity to then go higher. They will always protect their position. And this is why some SMT has insane reaction. And a lot of people think that, oh, it's the retail selling. God damn it! Do you really think the retailers are moving the price like this? No. That's not the case. They are moving the price, and this is a perfect example. The push here that led to this high, they entered positions here to push the price higher, and maybe they use this to save. So let's say because they didn't have enough money to go here. And how come they have enough? Because they release on this and they either enter here, close here, or they enter this amount or maybe a little bit more. Let's say a little bit more like this, right? I should have put this with $10. A lot of people will understand. And you remove 1 0, so they save this amount of liquidity. And when they come here, they release it. / release, it would be also the close, to then immediately take it and releasing it. The same thing, they're shotgunning their position essentially. So that would make it the obvious reason why oftentimes when you have a relevant break of structure, it usually doesn't go super fast. It comes back slowly. Okay? So now, this is the technical aspect. So, couple of things to know. What are the POIs you want to look for? Basically, the most important POIs are what we call the inducement POI. POIs that took liquidity, right? This is very important. POIs that either enticed people to enter or POIs that took liquidity. Okay? So, let's see here. We have Asia low, let's say. Asia low is induced. Let me just remove all this. Let's start from scratch. Asia low is induced. What do we have to the left? Oh, we have potential, also liquidity, and maybe we have reaction to these equal lows, right? So let's mark equal lows. Perfect. Now, this induces this, but also induces this if you want to look at it on the left perfectly. And the good thing to see when you have an inducement is oftentimes, and this is what I do when I put the circles, is you have the wicks. The wicks justifies a counter reaction like this, right? This means that they're pushing price to the opposite direction with speed and momentum after the release of liquidity. Very, very interesting. Okay. Now, as you can see, price revisits. Let's remove the equal lows. Revisits this, and this is done on the lower time frame. And now people would say, Joe, I don't understand how come this hasn't done this and this and this, and then it goes higher. Excellent question. We cannot confirm if price will go higher or come back. We don't know how many orders they need. We also need to account the fact that they took liquidity here and maybe here, and they entice people to enter. And look how here people are still in maybe release of potential liquidities if people are in drawdown, but they take the liquidity here. We don't know if there's enough liquidity with this to less. So you need to look to the story. So the inducement POI needs to make sense. If you mark this as an inducement POI because in your term you think that this is potentially an internal false break of structure, and you think that this is an inducement POI, but remember, this is enticing people to go short, not taking liquidity. We often want to take the POIs that take liquidity, okay? Like this case here. And let's make something clear, and I think a lot of people don't understand. There's a term that says price is fractal. And then we have some people online that say, the high time frame drives the price. Some people say the M1 drives the price. Some say the M15 drives the price. The institution trades on the H4. And the Forex market and any goddamn market in the world only knows one thing, and it's you know what it is? The damn price. The candles, they don't care. They don't look at time. Do you really think that the price sticks look at each time frame candles? It doesn't make any sense, right? You are the time frames are just made for you to have a visual representation of the PA, and that you can align yourself with your time frame based on your strategy. The market doesn't care about the time frames. And this is why what happens with POIs, we can have immediate mitigations, or we can have that takes longer here. Also, I'm not a fan, I'm going all over the place, but I love those videos. They're raw. I'm not a fan when people say, we have this, and this point has been mitigated and it cannot come back. Like, who the F thinks those stupid shit? Like, who are you to define if a mitigation point, an order block, has been mitigated already? Look at this. We don't know where the entry point are. We don't have access to it. And maybe they need to stack more orders. So every time it comes back, it stacks orders. This is why I love those entries. Remember when I do this, I like when price slows down, it's preparing something. I don't like the word accumulation and distribution that we had back in the day with the SMC world, but a bullish, like let's say this is a bullish order block, it accumulates price, right? And a bearish order block, let's say this one here, distributes price. It's a real thing based on, you can see the technical research behind it, but that's how the market, we see it. That's not how actually the institutions are trading, right? But they are stacking the orders. The same thing that you're warming up your muscles before doing a workout, or the same thing that you're, I don't even have a good example. They want to enter in the market. They don't have enough room to do it, right? So they are coming back and stacking the orders. Just those, like, I saw an article online, like I think 2 years ago, and it was putting in pips value the amount of money required on lot size required to move 1 pip. I think you guys don't realize the amount of money involved in this market. We're talking about trillions each day, not month, day. So let's ask ChatGPT for fun. How much dollars to move 1 pip in Forex market? Let's say if he knows that. Let's see. Yeah, they're not gonna give it to you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they don't know it. And look, you need to understand also that you have leverage. You can enter in bigger transaction. What is leverage? Is basically like a credit card. You're leveraging money that you don't have to buy something. Your small account, let's say you have a $10,000 account, you can freaking trade 40 lots if you want. Like if you have a 1 to 500 leverage. I think the max would be 50, but you can, but you don't have this money. So imagine how much money these guys can enter with. And let's say the big boys like the Fed and all these guys, they have unlimited money. They literally can print their own money. So it's normal for them to want to make big money and having to stack the orders, right? So I think that you need to understand that when price induces, this is where you want to go into looking into POIs. We're not going to talk about a continuation POIs for now. We're solely going to talk about extreme / inducement POIs. Very important that you understand that, like, let's say this UC short, I took this short here, okay? I took the short and then I took a break even, okay? Perfect. But this is only because you can see price came back, I created those break and retest traders. And this is, like I already said, this is a trick to know if it's inducing another time. Because you look to the left, we have nothing. That was the clear inducement of that final push that led to this low. This is why I entered here. If you can see here, right? The wicks, I entered here, okay? Here we go. I think it was a little bit higher. And I was targeting this low. So, and then I took a break even. As you can see, again, look, it's exactly the same thing. They came back to entice break and retest to enter. Now they pushing price higher. They entered by here. There's a stop loss, but usually they don't trade your stop loss to push the price higher, right? To induce also maybe those early sellers. Who knows? We don't care. We don't have access to nothing. We're just talking about it. And this is also another trick. When price reacts from an inducement zone, if it comes back into a break and retest and it does this, that kind of internal relevant breakout structure comes back and mitigates this, usually it's where you would want to move to break even or close your position because they're stacking orders on the opposite direction. And look how this low is protected. This is the best price they have entered. The best price they have entered. Let me find my little price thingy. So this is their best price. They cannot go below, so they go here. They look at the release now, right? Comes back, fakes this potential SMT, or like I said, closing their orders, right? Potentially, because they had to push this low. So like I said, SMTs are often also used as releasing their orders. As you can see, their high is protected. And sorry, but this isn't retail making the move. The move that they release their order actually entices people to go short, but this is not the retail that creates this, right? Comes back, pushing higher, and this is where I missed this trade because of the damn lady with the bank. She called me, but that would have been a proper order block, okay? And now we would go on lower time frame and look at it together. As you can see, this would have been the way I would have marked it, okay? I will talk in a future video the reason why I sometimes don't include those wicks, okay? Very, very another feature and another part of my strategy. But as you can see, protect their orders. Their best price is here. And this is where they come back to stack their orders. And that would be where you want to enter. It's okay to enter on the first push. Who are we to decide that they fulfilled what they need to do? They just didn't have enough liquidity. So they just induced early sellers, inducing more buyers to then do everything in one go. So usually, as you can see here, they have liquidity here, right? They have liquidity here, and liquidity here, right? And liquidity here, right? Let's go on M5 if I'm right. Yeah, pretty much this one is still a valid internal structure. And sorry, I've hit my mic. God damn it. As you can see, the move was full because they had all these position closing and they had enough volume to push, and maybe also enter more positions. Pushing. We don't know. Okay? As you can see, now they released this and they came back and got fulfill what they needed to continue lower. Okay? I hope this is clear. Let's go into another example. So, Euro USD, same thing. Look at what happens constantly. We want to focus on inducement POIs, right? Inducement POIs, right? Did this here? No. Okay, so we had this point here. Okay, cool. As you can see here, we have this. Has then this induced something? No. Is this an extreme POI? Yes, it would be more. This one would be the extreme, but this one is still valid. As you can see, this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to say with when they need to stack orders. This is a push. They push it here, faked the equal highs, came back. They have a protected low. They come back, they enter the rest of the position, and look at the proof, right? Look, perfect, right? We know it. It's clear, very, very clear. This is the, I think it's important to label them. So let's call them, I think I'm gonna have to brand those because people are gonna get it confused. How can we call them? I think I'm gonna have to think about a name because basically there's two things I wanted you guys to do is the POIs that they add on fulfilled orders. Is this how we type it, how we write it? This is like super raw video. Here we go. Unfulfilled. Sorry. Okay. As you guys can see, I don't talk English. Unfulfilled orders or to protect, but not to stack orders to enter. Okay. And both of them has a protected price. Who knows this price? Only them, right? As you can see, sometimes if you would mark this up as being too precise, you would lose the opportunity. This is why you want to take the whole section, and probably if you go on M15, it would be yeah, the M15 PY here. So let's see here. Okay, perfect. As you can see, perfectly tapped in here. They protected their low to go higher. So this is why some POIs react perfectly and then explode, because they stack their orders. This is often when you see those pushes, this is where you want to see those unfulfilled orders POI. So let's call it like this: unfulfilled POI. And let's call it orders PY. Let's call it like this for now. Okay. Ooh, protected. Here we go. And now that we have an inducement clearly, and price starts slowing down, giving them multiple opportunities to enter. They always protect their low. Look how always protect their low. Always stacking the orders. Look how they perfectly do it. Boom, boom. Always protect their low. And marking up POIs requires tremendous practice because they are pretty complex to do. And as you can see, they release. These ones are the best one when they slow and the price right after an inducement when there's price slowing down. These ones are the easier ones. But sometimes you will not get this, and you need to understand that even though they have an inducement, price might not come back. But it doesn't mean that there's like no inducement here. It just needs that it means that they don't need to stack the orders to go take the most closer liquidity. So to recap, try identifying POIs when they are inducing something. And when you have big pushes that are being revisited after maybe a relevant break of structure without an inducement, see here, there's no inducement. This is often when it comes to unfulfilled orders. These ones are very, very harder to take because you really don't have any guarantee of if this is the case. Because otherwise, look at this here, right? You would take this, they're unfulfilling my orders. And this is why most of the POIs, I will repeat, most of the POIs / official order blocks provide a reaction because most of them has pushes made by institutions. So essentially the SMTs are also valid POIs to one point. They just decided to close their position and protect their position when they get back in. Okay, I hope it really is clear. And this is like the kind of the subjects that are very, very complex because for me it's just second nature, right? Let's do more practice on more identification of POIs. So every time that you have an inducement, right, inducing this, right, also enticing people to enter, right, and this is why you have all these equal lows. As you can see, look how with speed it takes out the liquidity. This becomes an inducement POI and it's being revisited, right? And then price leaves. And now you need to understand that if we go on the lower time frame, this is a break even I took. Price went lower, took everything out, and pushed it higher. This is just an unfortunate situation. I cannot confirm what happens on the back end in these cases because these are things that usually everybody gets fucked up, right? Not only us, everybody. But now that we have this push right here, enticing people to enter, they haven't really taken any valid liquidity, maybe a little bit because of this. If you see here, right, with this FBOSS, it made a new low. So technically, maybe there's liquidity here. Not really, but I mean, it's okay. As you can see, when it pushes, it comes back. And this, even though it doesn't induce liquidity, it still entices people to enter. And look how they revisit this. And look how also this push here, look how this push that was initiated by them, push it higher. They came back, closed their position, or maybe entered again. Let's go in M1. So they entered again, the same type of edge. They edged their position to go here. As you can see, they close their position, releasing, coming back, protecting their high, going lower. And this is where it's nice. Look how they're stacking their orders, right? Slowly, boom, 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 boom. Come back here, protect their low, close their position before being hit as a stop loss if they still had position open. Come back. Look how it revisits again. And these are often where big moves happen, right? Because look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They revisited 5 times. Just to tell you, this is literally a big, like 40 pips something. This is a lot. And I think it continued to dump until it took this. It requires a lot of practice to mark up those POIs. Mark them up as justification reaction of either unfulfilled orders or stacking orders. Stacking orders, unfulfilled orders. Stacking orders, unfulfilled orders. Stacking orders, unfulfilled orders. So let's find a cute name. On UOPOI. SO UFO POI UFO unfulfilled orders. UFO, what does UFO mean? UFO, yeah, unidentified flying object. That's pretty odd. Okay, let's call it like this. This is good. UPOI OPOI. Let's call it. Well, it's gonna be like this: OPOI and UPOI. Because I know if I don't label them, you guys are gonna be, this is this, this is this, this is this. So let's call it like this. So this would be a unfulfilled order POI, and this would be a stacking order POI. So that would be S. Oh no, let's call it O for orders. Okay. We'll change the names later. I just want you guys to understand that these are, even though there are 2 POIs, they both do 2 things differently. Basically, we want to be involved in oftentimes where they stack the orders, because the unfulfilled POI, the UPOI, often don't give the best risk to reward based on the size of the POIs. Okay, I really prefer when it's stacking orders. So as you can see, Euro USD today was very a perfect example. And these trades are so easy, you can take them with your eyes, blinded eyes. Okay, so or we can just call it let's just call it like this: unfulfilled POI, orders POI. That's it. So forget what I said here. That's going to be way too confusing. Unfulfilled POI, orders POI. Both of them protect the price. Both of them protect the big boys. And they both do the same thing. They want to go in the direction by mitigating their own entries. Mitigation means reducing the risk, and this is exactly what they're doing, right? They're either reducing the risk by protecting their low or their high, or closing their positions like I showed on UC here, closing their position with the buys here, the buys here to protect, to go lower. Very technical, very complex. But what you need to understand is that a POI is basically the last the last sell to buy candle or the last buy to sell candle. This is an order block that initiated a push. So basically you have one here, right? You have one here. You have one here also. Okay, I'm going to just remove this. And this is what you need to practice with. Usually it's, you want to enter only the valid structures, right? Internal or external ones, as you can see here. And it takes a lot of experience to marking those. And often people do the mistake to over refine, but they don't take the account of what I explained with the unfulfilled orders is they don't look at over refinement. It doesn't work that way. So if you want to be in a trade, make sure that you get involved into this trade. Basically, get an alert once it triggers that POI. And if it leaves without you, don't enter that trade with this type of stop loss size. Who are you to decide that the big boys want to have more precise entry? That's not the case, right? It's basically technical. They are just protecting their orders or re-entering again. So if they entered here, and this is their predicted, or maybe this is their predicted low, and they're just going to draw down a little bit. They entered option, the trades, and then go short. Then basically this would be what they would do. So I think this is also here. You can see here. See, all these are order blocks / POIs. POIs is more of a zone, an area. So point of interest, area of interest, and order blocks is really the buy to sell candle or sell to buy candle that orders has been stacked to come back and be mitigated. This will be the first volume about these types of POI stuff because I have way more complex things to talk about. I have a lot of discoveries that I did also to get a little bit more precise entries. And including the wick thing that I showed you guys. Remember, this is only POI justification and POI identification. That doesn't mean I want you guys to enter trades. If some of you are trading already, you can. I just think it's stupid since you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. But if you think that you have enough and you think you have everything to trade, I now officially allow you to enter trades. But it's against my overall plan. So please don't ask in Discord, I hit the stop loss, can you explain me? I don't want to hear about it. So you can now starting getting your feet wet if you wish, but please, I don't want to know about it. Okay. This is only POI justification, POI identification, only on the extremes. We will go back into another video for decisionals because decisionals are very more complex and actually way more fun because I take them. So they're more fun, right? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Longer video, 47-ish minutes. And catch you guys on Discord. Peace.